In 15 years, China has sent more spacecraft to the moon than any other country. This was never about winning a race. Inside craters that have not seen sunlight for billions of years, something sits frozen at the lunar South Pole, something that could turn the moon into humanity's first off-world refueling station. China is building the infrastructure to reach it first. That story begins with a plan nobody was watching. China's lunar ambitions began not with spectacle, but with a methodical plan. The China National Space Administration laid out a four-phase approach: orbit and map, land and explore, return samples, and eventually build lasting infrastructure. This was not a race for headlines, but a strategy to transform the moon from distant object to mapped territory, laying the groundwork for every mission to follow. The campaign started in October 2007 with Chang'e 1. Weighing about 1,000 kilograms, this orbiter carried a panoramic camera, laser altimeter, and gamma-ray spectrometer. Over the next year, Chang'e 1 produced a global map of the moon at 100-meter resolution. For the first time, the lunar surface was charted in 3 dimensions, with mineral composition mapped across every basin and crater. This data became the reference for all future Chinese landers. Safe landing zones, scientifically promising regions, and the elusive cold traps near the South Pole were all identified before any lander attempted descent. 3 years later, Chang'e 2 launched in October 2010, pushing the survey further. Its camera resolved features down to half a meter, capturing both the near side and the far side, the hemisphere never visited by any spacecraft before. With this clarity, mission planners could pinpoint landing sites, steering clear of boulders, steep slopes, and hidden hazards. The far side's rugged terrain was no longer guesswork, but a set of coordinates and elevation profiles ready for engineering. These high-resolution maps were more than scientific achievements. They formed the backbone for hazard avoidance systems, sample return targeting, and the selection of sites near the lunar South Pole where water ice might be trapped in permanent shadow. The moon was transformed from an unknown into a grid of possibilities, each mapped crater and mineral signature a potential asset for future missions. China's approach stood apart from the Cold War era. Instead of racing to plant a flag, the program built a foundation pixel by pixel, data point by data point. Whoever controlled the best maps and deepest understanding would have the first best chance to build on the moon's most valuable ground. With meter-level confidence in landing sites, the ancient ice could be reached, and with it, the potential to reshape the future of lunar exploration. On December 14, 2013, China's Chang'e 3 lander touched down in the Mare Imbrium, delivering the first lunar rover in nearly 40 years. The rover, named Yutu, Jade Rabbit, rolled off its ramp weighing 140 kilograms, equipped with a panoramic camera, an infrared spectrometer, and a ground-penetrating radar. This was not just a test of landing gear or remote driving. Yutu was a hands-on geologist, sent to interrogate the moon's surface up close. Within days, Yutu began surveying the rim of a fresh impact crater. Its instruments scanned the regolith, collecting spectra and measuring the chemical fingerprints of lunar soil. The numbers startled planetary scientists. The basalt beneath Yutu's wheels contained 6.8% titanium dioxide and 22.3% iron oxide, figures that did not fit any known Apollo or Luna sample. This was a new type of volcanic rock, with a composition that hinted at a more complex and varied lunar history than anyone expected. The rover's spectrometer found deep absorption bands near 1 micron, a signature of high calcium pyroxene minerals. The ground-penetrating radar mapped layers of regolith, revealing a subsurface record of ancient lava flows. Elemental readings showed elevated chromium and manganese, reinforcing the sense that this was not just another patch of old Mare Plain. The chemistry suggested a volcanic episode that happened hundreds of millions of years after the main phase of lunar volcanism was supposed to have ended. This discovery forced a rethink. For decades, the Apollo samples defined what scientists believed about the moon's interior. But those missions landed in safe, flat regions, missing pockets of geochemical diversity. Yutu's findings exposed the limits of that approach. The moon was not a finished story, but a dynamic, evolving world with secrets still locked in its crust. The success of Chang'e 3 was more than a technical demonstration. It proved that China could land softly, deploy a mobile laboratory, and return new science. It also raised the stakes for future missions. If a single rover could rewrite the textbooks on lunar volcanism, what else lay hidden? waiting for a more ambitious sample return. And as the strategic value of the moon's resources became clearer, the logic behind China's phase plan grew sharper. Whoever could map, land, and analyze first would have the best shot at unlocking the moon's ancient frozen assets. Would you sign up to live on a moon base if the infrastructure was ready by 2050? Landing on the moon's far side once seemed out of reach, not for lack of rockets, but because radio silence cut it off from Earth. China changed that with Kuekiao, a relay satellite circling in a halo orbit 65,000 kilometers beyond the moon. From this unique position, Kuekiao kept both the far side and Earth in constant view, unlocking a hemisphere that had never been explored directly. In January 2019, Chang'e 4 made history as the first spacecraft to land on the moon's far side, settling inside the immense South Pole Aitken Basin. The Yutu-2 rover, guided by signals relayed through Kuekiao, began scanning a landscape shaped by ancient impacts and volcanism, rich in thorium, and older than the familiar near side. For the first time, scientists could study the moon's deep past from its most secretive region, but landing was only the beginning. Chang'e 5, launched in late 2020, landed, drilled, launched a mini rocket, docked in lunar orbit, and brought back 1,731 grams of regolith, including volcanic rock nearly 2 billion years younger than Apollo's. In 2024, Chang'e 6 advanced these skills further. Using Kuekiao 2, it landed in the Apollo crater, drilled, and lifted off with almost 2 kilograms of far-side material. The ascent vehicle performed autonomous rendezvous and docking, relying on preset maneuvers and the steady relay link. The samples, now dated at 2.8 billion years old, reveal the moon's volcanic evolution. These missions proved China can reach, operate, and return resources from anywhere on the moon. This technical mastery sets the stage for turning remote lunar regions into assets for future infrastructure and influence. Inside the moon's southern polar craters, sunlight never reaches the floor. Temperatures in these permanently shadowed regions, known as PSRs, hover between 40 Kelvin and 55 Kelvin, colder than Pluto's equator. For billions of years, these deep freeze traps have preserved a hidden reservoir, an estimated 10,000 metric tons of water ice locked just beneath the surface. This is not just a scientific curiosity. Water on the moon can be split into oxygen for breathing and hydrogen for rocket fuel, turning the lunar South Pole into a natural refueling station for missions bound deeper into the solar system. Whoever controls this supply chain could dictate the pace and price of future exploration beyond Earth. China's next act is already in motion. Chang'e 7, targeting launch in 2026, will deliver a lander, a rover, and a small hopping robot able to leap into the darkest, coldest craters, places where wheels would freeze and solar panels fail. Using neutron spectrometers and laser-induced breakdown spectroscopy, these machines will map ice deposits down to the gram. Chang'e 8, slated for the late 2020s, will go further, testing microwave ovens to extract water from regolith and experimenting with 3D printing habitat bricks directly from lunar soil. These are not demonstrations for show. They are dry runs for building a permanent outpost. The International Lunar Research Station, or ILRS, is scheduled to begin robotic assembly in the early 2030s. The backbone for this effort is the Long March 10 heavy-lift rocket and the Mengzhou crew vehicle, both on track for qualification flights in 2026. The goal is clear: establish the first operational infrastructure at the lunar South Pole with crewed missions before 2030. If China's plan holds, it will be the first to tap the moon's ancient ice and the first to set the rules for who gets to use it. If you could step onto a working moon base by 2050, would you take that leap? Right now, China is building not just a lunar outpost, but a new chapter in who decides our future in space. The first to unlock the moon's ancient frozen resources could shape the rules for a century. If a moon base opens by 2050, would you go?